Most men crumble when a woman ignores them, chasing her attention and losing their power. Stoic philosophy flips the script, teaching you to embrace indifference, master self-control, and turn silence into strength. When you no longer need her attention, you become unforgettable. The Stoic lens on attention and desire. In Stoic philosophy, desire and aversion are at the center of human suffering. Epictetus often reminded his students that we suffer not from things themselves, but from our judgments about them. When a man desires constant validation, affection, or attention from a woman, he places his peace of mind in her hands. This dependence makes him fragile. To make her ignore you through Stoic philosophy is not about manipulation in the shallow sense. It is about detaching from the need for her attention so deeply that her silence, her distance, or even her disinterest does not disturb your equilibrium. In this way, making her ignore you is not a game of reverse psychology, it is an act of self-mastery. When you live without craving attention, you naturally carry yourself with strength. That strength itself changes the dynamics of the relationship. She may notice your indifference, or she may truly ignore you, but in either case, you remain untouchable. Why making her ignore you works? Psychologically, people are drawn to scarcity. What is always available loses value, what seems self-sufficient and rare gains intrigue. Stoicism gives you the inner power to become scarce, not by pretending, but by genuinely redirecting your focus from external validation to internal virtue. By embracing indifference, you create an energy of self-respect. She is more likely to test you, to pull away, or to ignore you if you behave in a needy way. But when you demonstrate that her attention is not essential, she begins to perceive your strength. Whether she stays or leaves becomes irrelevant to you, the only thing that matters is that you remain in control of your inner life. Thus, making her ignore you is paradoxical. It works because you stop chasing. When you stop chasing, she either returns out of curiosity, or she fades away, but your peace remains untouched. Control what you can, accept what you cannot. The Stoics taught a principle known as the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, others are not. Her attention, her texts, her affection, these are not up to you. Your self-discipline, your mindset, your words, your choices, these are within your power. To make her ignore you in a Stoic way means focusing completely on your side of the equation. You don't beg for her time, you don't demand explanations, you don't perform emotional acrobatics. You simply choose silence when silence is wise, distance when distance is necessary, and strength when weakness would normally emerge. Instead of asking, "Why doesn't she notice me?" the Stoic man asks, "Why should I require her notice at all?" That question dismantles the craving that enslaves most men. Indifference to external validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." If she ignores you, the event itself is neutral, it is only your interpretation that makes it painful. You might call it rejection, disrespect, or neglect, but it is simply another human being exercising her freedom. When you learn indifference to validation, you remove the weight of her attention. You stop measuring your worth by her responses. Her ignoring you becomes a gift, because it reveals how free you really are from the chains of needing to be seen. Indifference is not coldness, it is freedom. You may still care for her, still wish her well, but you detach your self-worth from her behavior. That detachment is precisely what makes your presence strong. Self-mastery over neediness. Neediness is the greatest repellent in human relationships. Stoicism attacks neediness at its roots. The Stoic trains himself to live with little, to endure hardship, and to control desire. When you want her attention, practice the opposite. Withdraw, breathe, write in a journal, read philosophy, exercise discipline. Remind yourself that the desire itself is the source of your suffering, not her absence. By mastering your impulses, you become immune to manipulation. She cannot control you with silence, nor can she weaken you by withholding. You are no longer a slave to attention, you are a master of yourself. Silence is strength. Words can beg, but silence commands. The Stoic knows when to speak and when to withhold speech. By choosing silence instead of chasing explanations, you display power. If she ignores you, you don't flood her with messages. If she withdraws, you don't pursue. Instead, you stand firm, like a mountain unmoved by the winds. This does not mean you act rudely or with hostility, it means you allow the space without resistance. In many cases, silence itself becomes louder than words. She may wonder why you are not reacting, why you are not fighting for attention. That wonder can spark curiosity, but even if it does not, you remain dignified. Building inner strength. Making her ignore you is not about games, it is about redirecting focus from her to yourself. Stoicism insists on the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. When you live according to these, your character strengthens, and her opinion, positive or negative, loses its dominance over you. Instead of chasing her, chase improvement. Instead of begging for attention, build your body, sharpen your mind, discipline your habits. In this way, her ignoring you becomes irrelevant, because you are already occupied with higher things. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that life is short, time is fleeting, and death is certain. To waste time worrying about who ignores you is to betray your potential. Step-by-step Stoic guide to make her ignore you. Detach from desire, acknowledge your craving for her attention, then deliberately reject it as unnecessary. Practice silence. When tempted to send multiple messages or explanations, hold your tongue. Let stillness become your language. Redirect energy, replace emotional chasing with training, reading, or purposeful work. Accept her freedom, she is free to ignore you. That freedom does not threaten your dignity. Value your time, invest in pursuits that elevate you, rather than in chasing fleeting attention. Stay indifferent. If she ignores you, see it as neutral. If she notices you, see it as neutral. Do not let either sway your inner calm. By following these steps, you not only make her ignore you, but you also strip away the power that ignoring has over you. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus on detachment. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself not to act as if he had 10,000 years to live. When a woman ignores you, remember that her silence is a small matter in the grand scale of existence. Epictetus taught that you should behave in relationships as at a banquet, take what is offered with gratitude, but do not grasp for more than what comes to you. If she gives attention, receive it calmly. If she withholds it, let it pass without distress. The lesson is not cruelty, but proportion. To treat her ignoring you as a catastrophe is to misjudge its importance. A Stoic reduces problems to their true size, and in that reduction finds freedom. The paradox of attraction. Here lies the paradox. When you no longer need her attention, when you allow her to ignore you without flinching, you often become more attractive. Your detachment creates mystery. Your silence projects power. Your refusal to chase elevates your value. This paradox is not the goal, it is a byproduct. The Stoic does not practice indifference to manipulate, he practices indifference because it is the rational path to freedom. But in that freedom, he often discovers that others are drawn to his strength. By making her ignore you, you make yourself unshakable. And in that unshakable stance, she may find herself unable to ignore you for long. Conclusion. To make her ignore you through Stoic philosophy is not to play childish games, but to transcend the need for validation. It is to realize that her attention is beyond your control, and therefore irrelevant to your inner peace. By practicing detachment, silence, and self-mastery, you remove the sting of being ignored. Whether she notices you or not becomes secondary, the primary goal is to remain aligned with reason, virtue, and strength. In the end, Stoicism teaches that no one can truly ignore you, because your worth is not measured by others' attention. Your worth is measured by your character, your discipline, and your ability to remain undisturbed.